Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of my YouTube channel. My name is Jake Fryman. I'm a realtor here in Dayton, Ohio with Keller Williams Community Partners. And each week I hop on this channel and talk a little bit about the real estate industry. I give some helpful tips and advice to buyers and sellers, talk a little bit about the industry, what's going on right now with current events, and stuff like that. So on this week's episode, I wanted to talk a little bit more about what it means for agents and brokerages, because so often you're only dealing with the agent and you're only talking to the agent, and you might see that they're with a certain company, but what all does that mean exactly? You might want a little bit more detail into that, because sometimes you don't really understand that until you start working with an agent or get involved in the process. So in the state of Ohio, you are required to either be a broker or work under a brokerage. I cannot be a solo agent just doing this on my own. I have to be licensed under a brokerage. A brokerage has to carry my license. My brokerage is Keller Williams Community Partners. I was with a different brokerage before that. I decided to make a change and switch over to Keller a few years ago. I just felt like it was best for my business and my future goals. So far, it's worked out pretty well. But it happens all the time. Agents, they always change offices, always change brokerages. When they do that, their license gets sent back to the state of Ohio, and then it goes back to their new brokerage whenever they join up with a new office. So yeah, when you're not under a brokerage but your license is still active, the state holds it, and you're not allowed to practice real estate or do anything until your license goes under a new brokerage. Or you can get your broker's license and start your own office, your own business, and be in it for yourself. Some people do that, especially in smaller, more rural, isolated areas. They'll get their brokerage license and do real estate on their own for their area. But in these more competitive areas like Dayton, you'll see offices. There's different brokerages out there. Besides Keller Williams, you've seen the signs, you've seen the commercials for some of the other the big real estate offices, big real estate brokerages. There's a ton out there. There's a ton of options. But yeah, so as an agent, we have to work under one of those offices. And part of that comes into play then too with our commissions. So whenever we do, and different offices have different commission structures, just like with any sales position or something like that. Part of our commission can be taken by the brokerage. That's just the agreement that we work under that brokerage. We pay part of our commission that we make from being your seller's agent or your buyer's agent. The commission gets part of those sales figures. Different brokerages have different splits on that. Some give you 100% of what you make. Others is a little bit different. Just depends on the office and what you agree with your brokerage when you sign on with them. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for that. And then different brokerages will offer different things for you as well. Some will offer office space. They'll help you with technology. They'll help you with training classes, things like that. So as an agent, it's really important to interview different brokerages when you're starting out to decide which one fits you in whatever stage you're at in your career. If you're just starting out, you might want more training. If you're a little more advanced, you might want some nice office space or some help with some marketing, something like that. Just depends on where you're at in the process and all that good stuff. And as far as you as a consumer, you can't really go wrong with a brokerage. I mean, it's more about the agent than the office itself. Obviously, the more established brokerages might have a more experienced broker working behind the scenes to help you to ensure that the process goes smoothly and that there's no issues along the way. That's always that concern that if something goes wrong with the transaction, who will be there to back you up and help you out? And I know that I have a good broker where my office is, and if I have an issue come up, I can call him and get help from him at any point in time. And it's good to have that peace of mind too. That's what I always make sure to talk about that too with potential clients, potential buyer or seller clients. I always say, hey, I have a good broker supporting me, backing me up. If something goes wrong, we can always turn to him for help as well. That's the important thing about having a good broker running your office, is that they can help you make sure the process gets complete and the job gets done without any issues for you or your client. So definitely some things to think about if you're interviewing agents. Talk to them about their brokerage. Get a little bit more insight into what's going on with their brokerage. Is it a good office? What they do to support the agent, how they'll support you, the customer. It's definitely good to talk a little bit more about that stuff and learn a little bit more about the process. But of course, at the end of the day, it's more about who the agent is. The brokerage plays a big role, in my opinion, of developing the agent, but at the end of the day, it plays a big role to who they are working under. So I just wanted to share that this week, just to get a little more insight into what we go through behind the scenes when deciding who we'll work for and how that works in the state of Ohio. At least different states have different rules, but here in Ohio, we have to work underneath a brokerage office in order to practice real estate. So I hope this was insightful, and I hope you found this interesting and learned something. I'll see you all next week. Thank you.